Chosen one. We are not going to talk about what happens in the moment. The world is obsessed with that. Songs, movies, conversations, jokes. Everyone focuses on the build-up, the thrill, the chase. But you know that for you, the real story begins after the lights go off, after the messages stop, after the door closes and the room falls silent. That is when the strange part starts. That is when something inside you refuses to rest. Your body is supposed to be relaxed. You did what everyone says is natural. You might even have told yourself, it's just two adults. We're not doing anything wrong. And yet, as the hours pass, a different voice wakes up. It's subtle at first, a tightness in your chest, a question in the back of your mind, a feeling that something invisible was exchanged that no one warned you about. Maybe you know this scene too well. The bed is still warm, but your heart is cold and restless. You stare at the ceiling and wonder why your soul feels heavier when your body should feel lighter. You scroll your phone trying to distract yourself. You replay conversations in your head. You analyze every word, every touch, every look. But underneath all that noise, a quiet ache starts to grow. It's not just guilt. It's not just shame. It's deeper, stranger, harder to explain. It feels like someone pulled you out of alignment, like a cord inside you is slightly twisted, like your spirit is looking at you saying, you know this was not just physical. You know something holy in you is reacting. And this is where many chosen ones think they are broken. You look around and it seems other people can hook up and walk away unfazed, laughing, joking, planning the next time, treating it like a pastime, a game, a hobby. But you feel like the room is still full even when you are alone. You sense atmospheres that linger, thoughts that are not quite yours, emotions that don't match what you wanted. You tell yourself, I'm too sensitive, I'm too dramatic, I'm too spiritual. I should be able to handle this like everyone else. Yet deep down, you know the truth. You are not like everyone else. You are set apart. Your body is not just flesh, it is a temple. Your soul is not casual, it is consecrated. Your spirit is not sleeping, it is awake. And because of that, sex for you is never just sex. This is why the aftermath feels strange. It is not because you are dirty, it is because you are different. There is something in you that knows intimacy is not a toy, that bodies are not containers to be used and forgotten, that every joining leaves a trace. Spiritual, emotional, energetic. When you are chosen, your spirit reacts to what your flesh agrees to. It cannot stay silent. It cannot pretend nothing happened. It cannot treat your heart as cheap. So it speaks in ways that confuse you. Through heaviness, through sudden clarity, through dreams, through a deep sense that you gave away something weightier than your body. And the world has no language for this. But heaven does. What you have felt after those encounters is not madness. It is revelation. It is God's way of telling you, you were made for more than this cycle. You were made for a different kind of union. You were made for a level of love that heals, not drains. That strange tension between desire and conviction, between pleasure and emptiness, between closeness and loneliness. That is not a sign that you are unworthy. It is a sign that you are called higher. Your discomfort is a compass. Your tears are not proof of failure. They are proof that your anointing is still alive. You did not break your calling. You brushed against its boundaries. In the next moments, we are going to walk through what really happens to chosen ones after sex. The invisible side, the spiritual weight, the emotional echo, the 7 strange things that are not strange at all when you understand who you are. We won't speak from condemnation, but from clarity, not to shame you, but to explain you, not to lock you in guilt, but to unlock your discernment. Because once you see this clearly, you will never again be able to call what is sacred casual. You will understand why your spirit reacts the way it does, why the aftermath feels so loud, and how God is using even this to pull you back into alignment with your true identity. And before we go deeper, I want you to mark this moment. If something in your heart is already saying, "Yes, this is me. This is my story. This explains so much," then do not stay on the outside of this journey. Let your first active response be simple but real. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications as a personal declaration. I don't want to walk blind in this area anymore. I want understanding. I want healing. I want to live as the chosen one I truly am. That click is not about numbers. It's about alignment. It's you saying, "I'm ready to stop pretending this doesn't affect me. I'm ready to let God speak into the parts of me nobody sees." Take a breath. You are not here by mistake. The nights you cried after what was supposed to make you feel powerful, the mornings you woke up feeling emptied instead of fulfilled, He saw them all. And now He is putting language to your experience. Stay with me until the end. By the time we finish, you will not only know what is happening to you after sex, you will know why. And more importantly, how heaven is inviting you into a different way of being, where your body, soul, and spirit finally agree. There is a particular silence that chosen ones know too well. It doesn't arrive immediately. At first, there is noise. Breathing, movement, laughter, small talk, the sound of phones, the shuffle of clothes. The little phrases people say when they are trying to make an exit feel less awkward. But then, slowly, the moment ends. The body settles. The room goes still. The door closes. And suddenly, the loudest thing in the room is not sound. It's the weight pressing down on your chest. Your mind tries to name it. Is it guilt? Is it shame? Is it regret? But none of those words fit completely, because this feeling is deeper and stranger than a simple, "I shouldn't have done that." It's like something in you is still moving, still awake, still wrestling, long after your body has stopped. You feel it most in those minutes, right after everything is over. You sit there, and your body tells you one story. You're fine. You're an adult. This is normal. Everyone does this. But your spirit tells you another story entirely. It whispers that something sacred has just been treated as casual. It hints that a part of you that belongs to your future, your purpose, your covenant, has just been poured out into a moment that cannot hold it. And because you are chosen, your spirit refuses to pretend this is nothing. It reacts, not always with tears or an obvious breakdown. Sometimes it responds with numbness, sometimes with a quiet ache, sometimes with a strange sense that the room is no longer yours, that you are a guest in your own space, that another atmosphere has taken a seat in the corner and refused to leave. Other people can walk away and feel nothing, at least not immediately. They can laugh it off, turn it into a story to tell, line it up alongside a list of experiences. For them, the quiet after is simple. For you, it is loud. You lie down and feel your thoughts racing. You stare at your phone and somehow every notification feels empty. You look at the person beside you and for a split second, they feel like a stranger, even if you know them well. Something in you is searching for God in a space you did not invite Him into. Not because He abandoned you, He didn't, but because your own heart tried to push Him out for a moment to make room for desire. And now, as the noise fades, your spirit reaches back for Him, like a child groping for a hand in the dark. This heavy quiet is not punishment. It is not God standing at the edge of the bed, shaking His head in disappointment. It is your own spirit signaling that you were made for a different kind of intimacy. When you are chosen, your inner world doesn't let you enjoy what breaks you. It cannot give you full comfort in what slowly empties you. So it sends you signals that feel like restlessness, anxiety, a sense of being off. Suddenly you find it hard to pray. Not because God went anywhere, but because your heart feels split between two loyalties, your hunger for connection and your longing for holiness. You open your mouth to say, "Father," and feel a lump in your throat, as if something is blocking your words. that something is not his anger, it's your own awareness. You know this is not aligned with who you really are. You might try to escape this feeling. You turn on a show, you scroll endlessly, you eat, you drink, you text someone else just to drown out the echo inside you. For a few minutes, it works. But then the quiet returns, heavier and more thoughtful than before. You begin to ask yourself questions. Why do I feel emptier after giving so much? Why does my heart feel lonelier after being so close to someone? Why does the room feel spiritually crowded even though there are only 2 people in it, or none at all? These questions are not accusations. They are invitations. God is not mocking you for asking them. He is glad you can feel the difference. Many cannot. The fact that the quiet bothers you is proof that your spirit is still tender, still alive, still capable of being moved by God. That is not a weakness. It is your greatest protection. There is another layer to this heavy quiet, the sudden mirroring of your own reflection. After everything is over, you might catch a glimpse of yourself in a mirror or a phone screen, and for a moment, you see not just your face, but your soul. It looks tired, not physically, but emotionally. There's a softness missing, a light slightly dimmed. You remember the hopes you once had about love, about covenant, about being cherished fully by someone who was sent by God and willing to stay. And now, here you are, giving pieces of that hope to encounters that cannot hold the weight of your dream. The quiet after does not just expose the encounter, it exposes the gap between what you are living and what you were designed for. And that exposure hurts. But it also heals, because it refuses to let you lie to yourself about what you truly desire. If you pay attention, you'll notice that this heavy quiet isn't the same every time. There were moments when you felt used, even if the other person didn't intend to use you. Moments when you felt like you had to act more okay than you were, just so they wouldn't feel guilty or pressured or obligated. Moments when you wanted to say no or not now, but said okay with your body, then screamed why with your soul afterward. The quiet after holds all of that. It gathers every unsaid word, every swallowed boundary, every time you disrespected yourself to keep from losing someone. It lays them out in front of you, not to humiliate you, but to ask a holy question. How much longer will you do this to yourself? How much longer will you give away what heaven calls sacred to people who only know how to treat it as entertainment? Chosen one, if you have ever sat in that heavy quiet and felt tears come for no logical reason, know this. Those tears are not weakness. They are your anointing crying out. They are your spirit saying, this is not who we are. We were made for something purer, deeper, more aligned with God. You may feel like you have failed God so badly that He must be ashamed of you. But the truth is, He is closer in those moments than you realize. He is not standing far away with arms crossed. He is sitting with you in the quiet, feeling every ache you feel, seeing the little child in you who just wanted to be chosen and loved and held. And He whispers not, look what you did, but look at who you are. This is not the end of your story. This is not your identity. This is a moment, and even this moment can become a turning point. The heavy quiet after sex for a chosen one is not just emotional discomfort. It is spiritual information. It tells you that your body is not neutral ground. It tells you that your soul cannot be handled casually. It tells you that your spirit will not cooperate with what is slowly killing your purpose. You are not cursed because you feel this. You are being called out of cycles that numb you, into a life that honors the weight of who you are. And as we go deeper, you will see that this strange heaviness is only one of many signs. Signs that what happened was not just physical. Signs that atmospheres exchanged. Signs that your sensitivity is not a curse, but a compass. You are not crazy. You are not alone. And you are not beyond restoration. The heaviness you feel is not the end of God's patience with you. It is the beginning of his deeper work in you. Keep walking with me. We are going to uncover what that heaviness is actually carrying and how God can turn even this into a doorway back to peace, purity, and a kind of love that does not leave your soul gasping in the quiet after. There is a reason you can wake up the next day and feel like the room has not fully emptied, even when you are alone. You shower, change the sheets, open the windows, light a candle. Try to reset everything around you. And still, somewhere inside, there is a fog that refuses to lift. This is what happens to chosen ones after sex that the world has no language for, an atmosphere hangover. Your body left the moment, but the moment did not fully leave you. You carried something out that you never meant to take home. Not just memories, not just feelings, but residue. Emotional, spiritual, energetic residue that clings to you like smoke after a fire you thought you had walked away from. You cannot see it with your eyes, but your soul feels it in 1,000 small ways. Suddenly your thoughts are not as clear. You find yourself replaying scenes in your mind with an intensity that doesn't match the encounter. You feel heavier in places that have nothing to do with your muscles. Music hits differently. Silence hits differently. Prayer feels different. You may notice a sadness that seems to come out of nowhere, or a wave of anxiety that shows up when you finally stop distracting yourself. You might even feel urges, cravings, or temptations that do not feel like your usual pattern, as if another person's struggle was smuggled into your inner world. This is not superstition. When you join your body with someone, you are stepping into their atmosphere. You are touching their history, their wounds, their beliefs about love, their view of themselves, their fears, their shame, their desires. And for someone who is chosen and spiritually awake, that does not pass through you without impact. You know this already in other areas of your life. You can walk into a room where people have just argued and feel the tension hang in the air like a storm, even if no one explains what happened. You can sit next to someone who is deeply anxious and feel your own chest tighten, even if they are smiling. You are sensitive to atmospheres because your spirit was built to discern before your mind understands. But when you step into sexual intimacy, that sensitivity is amplified. You are not just standing in their atmosphere. You are inviting it into covenant-level closeness, into one of the most vulnerable spaces of your body and soul. If that person carries unhealed trauma, confusion, self-hatred, instability, or broken views of love, some of that atmosphere brushes against your inner walls. You might not take it all in, but your spirit feels the contact. This is why, after sex, you sometimes feel emotions that are not entirely yours. One moment you are fine, the next, you are overwhelmed by insecurity that doesn't match your reality. One day you are hopeful about life. Then after being with them, you feel like your future is dimmer for no reason. You begin to overthink your worth, your body, your desirability, your value, mirroring the very battles they carry silently. It is as if, for a moment, you participated not only in their body, but in their war. And because you are chosen, you cannot just absorb all of that and walk away unchanged. Your spirit registers the imbalance. I am carrying what does not belong to me. I have opened doors that my heart was not prepared to guard. There is also the strange shift in your own atmosphere. Before, you may have had a sense of peace over your life that you didn't even notice until it was disturbed. Prayer flowed naturally. Worship felt warm. You could sit in silence and feel held. After certain encounters, that peace feels thinner. You pray and feel like your words are bouncing off the ceiling. You try to worship and feel distracted, restless, or distant. You sit in silence and feel visited by thoughts you do not want. This does not mean God left you. He has not moved. But your agreement with certain choices created static around your own signal. It is like trying to hear a soft, loving voice through the noise of a crowded room. The voice is still there, Your ear is just tired. And then there is the practical side no one tells you about. You spend emotional energy managing what you have taken on. You check their messages more. You stalk their social media, searching for reassurance you never really receive. You feel strangely responsible for their feelings, their reactions, their faith, their healing. As if sleeping with them signed you up for emotional labor you did not consciously agree to. Suddenly you are tired all the time, not just because of your schedule, but because you are carrying more than your share. You became a host for someone else's atmosphere, and your soul is sagging under weight that was never meant to live in you. For someone who is not chosen, this kind of aftermath may eventually show up, but it can be easily suppressed, ignored, or normalized. For you, it refuses to be quiet. It shows up in your dreams, in your moods, in your prayer life, in your sense of self. You find yourself asking, why do I feel so off? Why do I feel like I lost something I can't name? Why am I thinking thoughts that don't sound like me? These questions are not signs of weakness. They are evidence that your spirit is still alert. The hangover is not just your hormones. It is your holiness reacting to mixture. The enemy loves to twist this moment. He sneaks in with accusations. See, you're contaminated now. You'll never be pure again. No one will truly want you. God is disappointed in you. And if you listen to those lies, you will sink deeper into what is hurting you, believing there is no way back. But the truth is almost the opposite. The very fact that you feel the atmosphere so intensely proves that your spirit is not lost. A dead spirit doesn't react. A numb heart doesn't notice. The hangover you hate is proof that there is still a living, breathing, God-aware part of you refusing to accept this as your normal. That part of you is not condemning you. It is calling you to become more careful with where you let your body go, calling you to treat your soul as a sacred environment, not public property, calling you to see your sensitivity not as a punishment, but as protection. So what do you do with all of this? You do not fix it by pretending it doesn't matter. You do not heal by running back into the same arms, hoping that more of the same will somehow soothe the ache. You begin by naming the truth. I have carried atmospheres that don't belong to me. I have opened doors in my body that exposed my spirit to weight it was never built to bear. But I am not doomed to keep doing this. God still claims me. His presence still wants to saturate me. His peace can cleanse what my choices have clouded. You bring what you feel into the light of prayer, honestly, without religious language, without hiding. And watch how quickly he begins to separate what is you from what is not you. You may need to step back from certain people, certain places, certain habits. Not because you are better than them, but because your inner world is too valuable to rent out cheaply. Your heart is not a hotel. Your mind is not a trash can. Your spirit is not a playground. You are a chosen one. And when you finally start to believe that, the atmosphere hangover will become less of a mystery and more of a message. A message that says, you were designed to carry glory, not confusion. You were built to host presence, not residue. You were made to be a temple, not a storage room for anyone who asks. You cannot change the fact that you are sensitive, but you can change what you expose that sensitivity to. And as you do, you will find that the heavy fog lifts faster, peace returns stronger, and the rooms you walk into feel different, not because they changed, but because you did. The atmosphere you choose to host inside you will begin to push back every foreign atmosphere you once carried. That is the beginning of true freedom. And that is where God is leading you, away from being a carrier of everyone else's chaos and into being a carrier of His presence. There is a moment that almost no one talks about, but you know it well. It doesn't always happen before. Sometimes it happens right in the middle. A sudden awareness, a flicker of clarity, a quiet voice in your chest that says, this is not what you were made for, even as your body keeps moving forward. It feels like being split in two. One part of you going along with the moment, another part watching from the outside, whispering, "This isn't it. This isn't real safety. This isn't the love you asked God for." And that split hurts. Because you are not trying to rebel for the sake of rebellion. You are just tired of being lonely, tired of waiting, tired of feeling unwanted, tired of being the only one who seems to care about holiness. So when someone finally looks at you, touches you, chooses you, a part of you wants to shut that inner voice off and just feel something good for once. But when you are chosen, God loves you too much to leave you fully comfortable in what is slowly destroying you. So conviction doesn't always wait politely until you are finished. Sometimes it interrupts. Sometimes it shows up as a sudden emptiness in the very moment you are supposed to be most satisfied. Sometimes it feels like your heart stepping back even as your body leans in. Sometimes it is a wave of sadness you don't understand. A lump in your throat you try to swallow down. A tear that wants to fall, but you pretend it is nothing. That is not God humiliating you. That is God protecting you. He is not trying to ruin your fun. He is trying to rescue your future. He knows that every time you cross that line while pretending it is harmless, a piece of you breaks a little more. So he lets you feel the fracture in real time, not to shame you, but to wake you up. And yet, you have probably turned that holy discomfort into a weapon against yourself. You lie there afterward and say, "See, I'm disgusting. God must be done with me." Real Christians don't do this. If I truly loved God, I would never end up here. You confuse conviction with condemnation, but they are not the same. Condemnation says, "You are filth. Stay far away." Conviction says, "You are mine. Come back." Condemnation pushes you into hiding. Conviction pulls you into honesty. Condemnation makes you want to run deeper into what is hurting you because you believe there is no way back. Conviction gives you just enough pain to realize, I cannot stay here. I do not belong in this pattern. There is more for me than this. The discomfort you feel is not proof that God abandoned you. It is proof that He is still speaking to you, still reaching for you, still refusing to let you settle for less than what He wrote over your life. You may have noticed that this discomfort is selective. It hits you hardest with specific people, specific situations, specific choices. That is because your spirit knows something your flesh refuses to admit. Not everyone who touches you is safe for your destiny. Some people carry wounds in them that are not compatible with your calling. Some carry intentions toward you that are shallow, selfish, or temporary, even if their words sound deep. Some carry a darkness they never told you about, a bitterness, a double life, a spiritual atmosphere that your soul recognizes as dangerous. So while your mind says, "But they are so attractive," or "They make me feel wanted," your spirit says, "Danger." And it sends holy discomfort as an alarm, not to say, "You are trash," but to say, "This is not the one. This is not the place. This is not the way." This tension between desire and conviction can feel unbearable at times. You get tired of always being the sensitive one, the one who thinks too much, the one who cannot just go with the flow. You may even wish you could turn your conscience off and enjoy what others seem to enjoy without inner conflict. But the very thing you wish would shut up is also the thing keeping you alive. That voice kept you from going further than you did. That ache kept you from signing your soul away completely. That inner no is the reason you are still reachable, still redeemable, still able to respond when God calls. The world will tell you to numb it. Heaven tells you to listen. If you are honest, you know the encounters that left you the most broken were never the ones where you felt nothing. They were the ones where you knew better and did it anyway, then hated yourself for it. The pain was not only in the act, it was in betraying your own heart. Holy discomfort is God trying to stop that betrayal before it becomes permanent. It is him saying, I remember who you are, even when you act like you don't. I will not let you be comfortable in what was designed to steal the softness from your soul. That is not judgment. That is fierce love. Love that fights for you when you are too tired to fight for yourself. Love that refuses to normalize what slowly kills your sense of worth. Love that would rather let you feel the sting of conviction than let you drown in a pleasure that empties you. So the next time that strange wave comes, the lump in your throat, the heaviness in your chest, the sudden desire to cry, the urge to pull away even when everything in you wants closeness, do not call yourself crazy. Call yourself called. Say quietly, this is my spirit protecting me. This is God refusing to lose me. This is holy discomfort, and it means I am still sensitive, still reachable, still chosen. You may not be ready to change everything overnight, but you can start by telling the truth about what you feel inside. God can work with honesty. He cannot heal what you insist on calling no big deal when your soul is screaming otherwise. And if this is resonating so deeply that you feel like I am reading pages from your private journal, I want you to mark this moment in a simple but powerful way. Go to the comments and write just one word, pure. Not because you feel pure right now, but because you are choosing to agree with what God says about you rather than what shame says. By writing pure, you are not denying your past. You are declaring your direction. You are saying, I may have fallen, but I am not finished. I may have stumbled, but I am still set apart. I still belong to a holy God who is not afraid of my mess, and I am letting him lead me back to who I really am. Let that word be your quiet rebellion against the lie that you are too far gone. You are not. The fact that you feel this discomfort proves it. There is a part of this that only shows up later, often when you least expect it. You think the moment is over. You've dealt with the guilt, you've cried, you've promised yourself you'll do better next time. Then a few nights pass, and the battle moves into your sleep. Dreams start to shift. Some are replay scenes, your mind looping fragments of the encounter like a broken record. Others are darker, more symbolic, images that leave you waking up unsettled, confused, or ashamed, even when you can't fully explain what you saw. There are nights where you feel hands on you in your sleep, pressure on your chest, a sense that you are not fully alone in the room. You wake up sweating, heart racing, spirit tired. And you whisper to yourself, what is wrong with me? Why is this so strong? Why can't I just move on like other people? What you're feeling is not just psychology, it's warfare. When you are chosen, your life is not just watched by heaven. Hell pays attention too. The enemy is not creative, but he is persistent. Sexual compromise is one of his favorite tools because it touches 3 levels at once: body, soul, and spirit. After you cross that line, he rushes in to capitalize on the open door, not only to tempt you again, but to chain your mind to the memory so you stay stuck. That is why the dreams come. They are not always from God, and they are not always neutral. Sometimes they are spiritual replays designed to keep you bound to the encounter, to keep your body craving what your heart regrets, to make you believe this is who you are now. A person ruled by desire, unable to escape the cycle. Then there is the invisible pullback during the day. You decide you're done. You block numbers, delete threads, promise yourself you've turned the page. But then something small happens. A song, a scent, a place, a late-night wave of loneliness. And suddenly the urge to reach out hits you so hard it feels almost physical. You feel a magnet inside your chest, pulling you back toward the very person you know is not safe for your soul. You start rehearsing reasons. I just want closure. I just want to check on them. I just want to apologize. I just want to see how they are. But if you're honest, deep down you know what your flesh is really asking for. Another hit of the same connection, another moment of feeling wanted, another escape from the ache. This pullback can make you question everything about your own sincerity. You ask, If I were really serious about God, why would I still want this? Why does my body betray me like this? Why do I feel like two people, one that loves God and one that loves this person? The truth is, you are not two people. You are one person in the middle of a clash between your spirit and your unhealed places, between your identity and your patterns, between your calling and your coping mechanisms. The enemy knows exactly where your unresolved pain lives. Rejection, abandonment, comparison, fear of being alone, and he uses sex as a shortcut to trigger all of it at once. He is not just after your behavior. He is after your belief. If he can convince you that you are too weak to change, too dirty to be restored, too bound to be free, he can keep you trapped long after the physical relationship ends. You may also notice other strange things after these encounters. Temptation intensifies in seasons when you are closest to a breakthrough, right before a new opportunity, deeper intimacy with God, or a step up in your purpose. It is not random that the invitation to compromise comes strongest when you are emotionally tired or spiritually dry. It is not an accident that old flames reappear out of nowhere when you start seeking God more seriously. The enemy is not omniscient, but he is observant. He recognizes patterns in your life. He knows what has worked before. So when he sees you rising, he tries to pull you back down with the same bait. And because your body remembers the feeling, the temptation feels real, strong, almost irresistible. That does not mean you are fake. It means you are worth fighting over. Even your moods may shift in ways that feel foreign. You might find yourself suddenly more irritable, more easily offended, more depressed without a clear cause. You might feel an increased resistance to prayer, a fog around reading scripture, a heaviness when you try to worship. Again, this is warfare. The enemy wants you to associate God with guilt, not grace. So that every time you think of prayer, you think of your failure first. He wants you to avoid God out of embarrassment, to delay repentance because you feel unworthy, to stay away from the only one who can actually break the cycle. If he can keep you hidden in shame, he doesn't need to chain you. You will chain yourself. That's why the war gets louder after you fall. Not because God moved away, but because darkness knows you are closer than ever to realizing you cannot do this without him. But hear this. Intensified warfare is not a sign that God has given up on you. It is a sign that your life matters. The enemy does not invest this much energy in someone he believes is irrelevant. He fights you because he sees what you could become if you ever truly believed you are forgiven and set apart. The dreams you hate, the urges that scare you, the spiritual noise that spikes after sex, these are not proof that you are doomed. They are proof that the battle is still on. And where there is a battle, there is still something left to fight for. That something is you. What do you do in this war? You stop trying to win it with willpower alone. You cannot outmuscle a spiritual strategy with human strength. You start by agreeing with the truth, even when your feelings lag behind. I am not what I did. I am not owned by this pattern. I am still God's. You speak it out loud when the urge hits. You whisper it when the shame whispers louder. You invite God into the exact moment you feel least spiritual. The craving, the longing, the late-night scroll toward danger. Instead of waiting until after you fall to talk to him, let him enter the temptation itself. Say, Father, I want this right now. I'm not going to pretend, but I know it's killing me. Help me. Show me a way out. That prayer is not weak. It is warfare. You may also need to cleanse your inner atmosphere intentionally. Bring those dreams before God and say, if this is from you, teach me. If this is from darkness, break it. Renounce, in simple words, any tie, agreement, or identity you picked up in those encounters. In Jesus' name, I let go of what is not mine. I break agreement with shame. I break agreement with the lie that I belong to anyone but you. You do not need elaborate formulas. You need honest surrender. Over time, you will notice the dreams lose their grip. The urges become less tyrannical. The fog begins to lift faster. Not because you became perfect, but because your spirit learned to run to God instead of hiding from Him. Chosen one, the strange intensity you feel after sex, the dreams, the cravings, the invisible pullback, is not a sign that you are unlovable. It is a sign that you are in the middle of a contested territory. Heaven wants you. Hell wants to ruin you. You are not neutral ground. And because you are not neutral, your body will never be a neutral activity. That can sound terrifying, but it is actually beautiful. It means you were made for a different kind of union, one that strengthens your calling instead of weakening it, one that anchors you instead of scattering you. Until you reach that season, every flare of warfare after falling is not God's disgust. It is His alarm, His callback, His way of saying, do not stay here. There is so much more ahead of you than this cycle. You are not crazy. You are not alone. And you are not finished. The war is real, but so is your calling. And the one who chose you knew every battle you would face long before you stepped into them. He is not surprised by your struggle. He is committed to your victory. Chosen one, take a breath. Let everything you have just heard settle. Not in the place where shame lives, but in the place where truth lives. You have been walking through a reality that almost no one explains. The heaviness after the moment ends, the atmosphere that follows you home, the holy discomfort that interrupts your pleasure, the warfare that surrounds your dreams and your desires. For a long time, you thought this meant there was something wrong with you, that you were weak, excessive, overly emotional, too spiritual for your own good. But now you know. This is what happens when someone who is set apart tries to live as if they were common. Your reaction was never proof that you were dirty. It was proof that you were different. You are not looking at your life from the outside as a judge. You are looking at it with God as a beloved child. He has seen every moment you tried to numb yourself, every time you used connection to escape loneliness, every time you traded a night of feeling wanted for weeks of feeling empty. He saw the tears on pillows no one else will ever see. He heard the silent apologies you whispered when you didn't even feel worthy to bow your head. And instead of turning away, He leaned closer. He did not send this word to condemn you, but to explain you, to give language to the ache, to show you that even in your lowest moments, your calling never left you. The sensitivity you hated is the same sensitivity that will protect you in the seasons to come. The very war that exhausted you is the proof that heaven still fights for you. You may still feel the pull. You may still feel tempted. You may still have nights where the old cycle calls your name. That doesn't cancel what God has spoken. Transformation for the chosen rarely happens in a single dramatic gesture. It happens day by day, choice by choice, agreement by agreement. Each time you listen to the holy discomfort instead of silencing it, you are changing your story. Each time you refuse to rent your body to atmospheres that are killing your peace, you are honoring your crown. Each time you bring your desire and your failure to God instead of hiding them, you are stepping deeper into the identity He wrote over you before anyone ever touched you. Loved, set apart, worth waiting for, worth protecting, worth keeping. So no, this is not the end of your purity. It is the beginning of your understanding. Purity is not the absence of a past. It is the presence of a person. As you walk with Him, He will teach you how to let your spirit lead when your flesh screams, how to choose connections that honor your soul, how to wait not as a prisoner, but as someone preparing for a love that will not make you feel haunted in the quiet after. You do not have to go back to who you were before everything happened. God is not trying to rewind you. He is trying to grow you. There is a wiser, softer, stronger version of you emerging from all of this, someone who knows their worth, not in theory, but in scars and mercy. Lift your head. You are not disqualified. You are not discarded. You are not the sum of the beds you've been in or the secrets you carry. You are a chosen one in the middle of a holy process. Let this be the moment you stop calling your sensitivity a curse and start treating it as a compass. Let this be the night you stop agreeing with the lie that you are too far gone and start agreeing with the God who has never once stopped numbering your hairs or calling your name. The story is not over. The war is not the final chapter. There is a future version of you walking in peace, in covenant, in real love that does not leave you restless at 3 a.m. And even now, heaven is leading you toward that life, one honest yes at a time.